When I was a kid, there was one game that I played a lot, and that game is Counter-Strike. And that is what this video is all about. Counter-Strike is still my favorite game to this day, even though I don't really have a lot of time to play it. But when I was around 12 years old, I wanted to become a professional Counter-Strike player. And my biggest idol at the time was Emil Christensen, also known as HeatoN. And if you're a long-time Counter-Strike player, then I'm sure you're familiar with his ace against 4 kings on Aztec. I think that clip could probably also be considered the start of frag movies as we know them today. Now, I've thought about this clip for a long time and how fun it would be to direct it myself and kind of do my own thing with it. Still, of course, following the initial blocking and the direction of the original clip, but still, direct the animation in my way. And so when I decided to actually do it, I also thought it would be a really fun idea to have the deadline and release this clip on HeatoN's birthday. So that's what I decided to do. But before I could do anything with this, I had to get the map and the models out of the game and save them out as FBX files so I could work with them in Maya. So this is what the entire map looks like. And these are all of the models that I used for this video. But as you can see, if I play around with them like this, the animation is not very convincing because they just look like action figures and it's not a lot of fun to look at. So what I need to do now is I need to rig them. And what a rig is basically a skeleton inside of the model which I can manipulate using controllers, just like this. Now, I'm sure you can understand that a character needs a skeleton, just like a human, so we can move around. But believe it or not, the characters aren't the only thing that needs a skeleton. Every single prop and every single weapon also need a skeleton of their own. So for example, all of the guns need their own skeleton and their own control setup. So here's what the USP looks like. As you can see here, these models look very different, but they're still the same gun. That's because one of them is the third-person view and the other one is the first-person view. So the one that you see as a player is much more high resolution than the third-person view. Now, I wanted to stay as true as I could to the general look of the game. And as an example, you can see that here with the USP. On the third-person view, you see that the USP actually has a silencer on it, but then when it's switched to the first-person view, there's no silencer. And that's not a mistake on my end. This is simply how the models look. Even the first-person camera had to have its own rig. I gave it arms that I can position exactly how I want and make sure they hold the guns to mimic the actual game. And there are no existing animations here. Everything's completely animated by hand using the game as a reference. Now, I know what you're thinking. I just told you that I wanted to stay true to the look of the game. Now, obviously, the original game did not have water simulations, and it did not have smoke simulations from the grenade either. So yeah, I added those because I thought it would, add some extra coolness to this animation. And because this is animation, there's actually nothing stopping me from giving the characters a highly realistic AK-47 from CS2. But this is old Counter-Strike we're animating here. CS2 will have to be for a different video. So when it came to animating this, what I did was I filmed references of myself acting out every single character of every single clip in this video. That speeds up the process a lot because I could keep those references in the background as I was animating each character. And because this is something I do in my spare time, I had to, take every shortcut that I possibly could, and, I can't spend endless times polishing this because, that would just mean that I would never finish it. And so I just, decided that when I reach a good enough factor, that's when the shot has to be done, and I just move on to the next one. And because speed is something that is insanely valuable to me, I decided to render the entire thing using Redshift. I really love using Redshift because it's a GPU-based renderer. It could basically render when I was sleeping, but I was still on a time budget here. And the thing is, I actually had to render every single shot twice. And that is because I also made this video in 3D. So for any 3D enthusiast out there, you could also enjoy this in stereoscopic 3D. I am one of those people. Alright, so the video's starting to come together now, but there's one crucial thing missing here, and that is of course the music. And for any Counter-Strike fan out there who's seen this original clip, well, you know that there's one particular song that's become synonymous with this clip. And that song is of course Chesney Hawk's The One and Only. And because this entire video is basically a reimagination of that original clip, I thought it would also be really fun to actually make a cover of the song rather than use the actual song. And I thought, because because I can do rigging, I can do rendering, I do animation, I do the editing. I just thought I could just make the music all by myself as well. No, let's have a professional do that part. Okay, so I guess we need a singer with like an insane vocal range, so I'm gonna see what I can find. Jonah Nilsson. Who's Jonah Nilsson?
And the whole world has to answer right now, 'cause I tell you once again, who's bad? Who's bad? Real bad. Let's answer right now. Who's bad? Real bad.
Okay, so he's obviously insanely good. But how could I possibly collaborate with someone like Jonah? Alright, I'm here with Jonah Nilsson, and we're gonna record a cover for the one and only.
I am the one and only. Nobody else.
Okay, so what are we gonna do today?
Today we're gonna record some bass and some drums and some guitar in the studio, and some vocals also, actually. So we're just gonna do part by part, and then we're gonna put it together. I'm gonna put it together in my studio, and then record some vocals on top of that, and some other layers and stuff. And then I'm gonna put it together into a mix, and then send it off to Michael, who's gonna do amazing on cutting this together.
Yep. Cool.
All right, this is Patrick over here. He's gonna play the bass, and he's sitting here practicing, I guess.
Yeah.
Yes, he's gonna need it. How's it
Oh my
going?
God. I'm very well, thank you.
This is Jesper. He's gonna play guitar,
Yes.
and it's gonna be. He also needs to practice, especially with this little.
Watch out for the intro.
Spela upp det en gång till originalet här om du vill.
Gitarr.
Det låter typ som att man har slagit på en starkare, bara disten går på.
Ja, men jag tror att de eventuellt har dragit tejpbanden bak och fram och så gör någon så här.
Det är asfett ju!
Superfett, va? Sen var det ju om ni hade kunnat tänka er sjunga understämman.
Absolut. Vi sätter upp den.
I am the one and only. I am the one.
En gång till.
I am the one and only.
I am the one and only. Nobody else. I am the one and only. You can't take that away from me. I am the one and only. Nobody around me. I am the one and only. Can't take that away from me.
Helt och.
Sjukt otippat.
Nice.
Alright, so that recording session was obviously a ton of fun. So please follow both Jonah Nilsson and Isaac and the Soul Machine here on YouTube, as their work really made this video a lot better. So please give them some love. And as always, I hope you'll stick around to watch some more videos on my YouTube channel, as it really helps me a lot too. And lastly, I want to thank HeatoN. Emil, tack så otroligt mycket för all inspiration under åren som jag växte upp. Counter-Strike är förmodligen en av grunderna till att jag idag jobbar heltid med både film och spelutveckling. Och trots att jag inte blev Counter-Strike-proffs så känns det ändå som att jag kunde gå varvet runt genom att göra den här videon. Så återigen, tack så otroligt mycket, och jag hoppas att du hade en grymt bra födelsedag. All right, so okay.
Det var faktiskt roligt.
Okay.